most wildest, wonderful dream and my worst nightmare all at the same time. And this happened when an old friend of mine who I played, we'd been in bands together, particularly Buddy Rich, and his name was Stanley Kay. And Stanley played drums for Buddy Rich. Now that sounds like a strange gig, because I mean, who plays drums for Buddy Rich? Well, it so happened that Buddy detested playing ballads, which I guess for a drummer it's pretty boring. So when the band played ballads for dancing, he liked to be out there, in front of the band, making nice to all the people, He did that to the band once in a while, but not too often. But Stanley was always afraid of me and the band, because I'd be gazing off someplace abstractly, somewhere in my head, and Buddy would say to Stanley, what's he looking at? Why's he look like that? And Stanley said, no, he's not even paying any attention to you. He isn't. I said, no, he's not looking at you. He's just, who knows, daydreaming. But he was always afraid I'd pull something that would get Buddy mad, and then that would be hard on Stanley. But Stanley called me probably 20, how long has it been now? 20 years almost, hasn't it? Almost 20 years ago, and he said, I've got something I want you to come up and hear. And it was a rehearsal studio, and it turns out it's an all-ladies band. And this was, with Sherrie, Stanley, they started this ladies band. And, that was wonderful, because nobody ever thought to do it. And one of the first bands I played in 1944, believe it or not, as soon as I got out of school, was Billy Rogers, who was a girl trumpet player who used to be with Woody. Now, Woody hired this girl trumpet player singer, and this had never been done before, because there was this prejudice which still exists about women musicians, like doing anything but playing the harp or the piano, And it was always a very hard row for women. I mean, there were, at one time, there was this great black band, the International Sweethearts of Rhythm, but it was no matter what. And Billy Rogers, when she was hired for Woody's band, everybody objected. And a couple of guys left even. They turned in their notice. They didn't want to be seen playing with a woman, at least in that way. So I was so happy when Stanley announced that he was starting this band. And this is the love of Stanley Kay's life, this whole thing. And he made it happen. Without Stanley, no Stanley, no DIVA. Yeah, right. Yeah, do everything but don't play. No, that was Billy Rogers is still, to this day, she's about 93 years old, and I've been in touch with her. She's very, she likes to, communicate through computers, but she's thrilled that I sent her a pre-release of this band, and she's blown away by it. She says, I was just born too soon. So that Stanley made this happen.
Yeah.
Let's have a hand for Stanley.
Stanley Kay.
Now we're going to end with a barn burner. This was originally written by Tiny Khan, who was one of the greatest musicians I've ever known. He was a drummer, a comedian.